How's it going, guys? Welcome to Reviews. I'm Chase Lee, and this is live. I'm here to review Most Likely to Succeed, and with live, since I am doing this live, you can comment in the place where I'll put my voice and let me know, if there's anything you want to know about. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that? Okay. This is what happens when you do it live. Anyways, if you have any questions about the movie or whatever, if you want to ask me anything, just comment in a place where I'll put my face. So I'm covering the Dallas International Film Festival, and so this is my 5th film of the festival, and I'm here to review that. So let me go ahead and describe it to you. It is a documentary. Most Likely to Succeed examines the history of education in the United States, revealing the growing shortcomings of conventional education methods in today's innovative world and exploring compelling new approaches that aim to revolutionize teaching as we know it. After seeing this film, the way you think about school will never be the same. And documentaries are really hard to review, like on a cinematography and like acting level, because they're real people. So it's pretty much just going to be about the idea of the movie and if it really conveys a side, both sides, what have you. So it is directed and written by Greg Whiteley, and he was actually at the screen last night. So I'll put this down. So basically, this film kind of goes through the history of education in schools. So it starts out with, a classroom and like learning a subject, and then, moving on to the next subject and stuff. And then we revolutionize into having a school with multiple rooms to where like one room will be math, one room will be science and stuff. And now we're in the year 2015, and these methods don't really work anymore, because in the documentary, they say that, this method was invented for like the Industrial Revolution and stuff, because everyone, back in the old days were farmers and stuff. Everyone's jobs were predictable. They knew what they wanted to be. And so when the Industrial Revolution started, they started forming these schools so people could go to classes and learn, about working on assembly lines and stuff. And that's how it got started, from what I can remember. And, we've kept that same method, I think they said, for like 120 years. And with today's technology and fast information society, like, I agree with him. I don't think that this is a conventional way to teach kids anymore, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am 25. I graduated college 3 years ago. And, I remember in high school, and I was still under the traditional method where it's like you go to one class, one subject for like 45 minutes a day, and then you switch. That's nice, and you can learn everything, but all you're really doing is leading up to a test, and you're trying to memorize the answers as fast as possible so you can just pass the test and just move on with your life. But when you get out into the real world, I can tell you this firsthand, it's nothing like that. When you have a job, it's not about tests. It's about communication. It's about leadership. It's about interacting with other coworkers. It's about being creative and outside the box and thinking differently on how you can solve problems, and if you need to ask someone for help on problems and stuff. And so I totally agree with this movie that we should change the education system. It's just, I don't think, because kids' mindsets nowadays is you graduate high school, you go to college, and then you get a job with a degree. That's not the case anymore. I graduated with a bachelor's degree, and it was hard as hell to find a job. And it's not as easy as it was back then, because back then the economy was booming and stuff, and those jobs were more accessible. Now that we've kind of fallen into the slump, it's really hard for college graduates to find a job, even with a degree. And it's a tough market, man. Like, and so I totally agree that like we should change kids' mindsets into thinking differently on how to approach real world situations and, job interviews and stuff. So let's get into the movie. Greg Whiteley does take the stance of we should change it. And, he brings on people from colleges and stuff, like, professors, and they talk about the old school method and like how it's worked for so long and we shouldn't change it. He talks to the parents of kids that are going to this new school, this new inventive school, and they're just like, there needs to be textbooks, there needs to be organization structure. It's just kind of like a free roam anarchy school. So I think everyone's scared because we've been on the same regiment in terms of education for, like you said, 120 years. I think it's about time we kind of switched it up a little bit, because we're in a different world now where if you, like back then, if you had a question, you had to go ask someone and you kind of had to figure it out on your own or with another person. Now, if you have a question and I could do it right here on my computer, you can go to Google and find it out. It's not that hard now. And so I think with the society and the age that we're living in, I think we should kind of switch it up and change it a little bit. So I'm totally for that. So this movie focuses on going to a school called High Tech High, and it focuses on these group of children who were in a public school from like kindergarten to 8th grade. And so they jump into this new high school, High Tech High, and the teaching system is different. Like the first day of school, teacher sits down and he has a design on the board, and he's like, all right, you see that? There's a square and there's a bunch of X's. The square represents the tables and the X's represent the chairs. I want you to create that design right now with the desk and chairs. And then he just leaves. And then the kids are a little stunned. They don't know what to do. And then he's like, well, and then he comes back and he's like, well, it's not going to do it itself. You need to figure this out and work as a team. And then they start doing it. And you kind of sit back, and most parents might scoff at it and be like, this teacher doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, he needs to sit them down and have them read books. No, I think what he was doing was actually really good, because when you're in high school, you're 4 years away from entering into the college life, and it's a completely different jungle out there, kids. So, he's kind of getting them ready for the real life, real world. Like, you need to be in an environment where you can work together, because most jobs, unless you work by yourself and solely by yourself, you're going to be working with other people, and you need to learn how to adapt to that. And you need to learn how to speak up and be a leader and be this strong voice in a community, in your community, and, voice your opinion, like, and kind of figure out how they're going to solve this and stuff. And I think that's really good life skills. And like I said, most parents of the kids, they're a little hesitant because, they grew up on, traditional methods just like I did. And, they're just a little hesitant at first, but I think we fear change. And so I understand why they're kind of scared, but at the same time, we don't know if this new system of teaching is going to fail, or if it's going to be even better than what's going on right now. I think that's what the director was trying to get across, is that we don't know if it's going to work, but we don't know if it's not going to work. We also don't know if it's going to be the same results as the old system. So I think those are the questions that he asked, and I think those are the questions that he presents pretty well to make you kind of determine, like, should we change the educational system? And like I said, I think that's what the director nails perfectly, is just kind of raising questions so we can kind of get the ball rolling on this and maybe try something new. And so it focuses on, this documentary particularly focuses on two people. It focuses on a very quiet girl who we see at the very beginning, and, kind of a little geeky guy. And, the quiet girl, when she starts first answering questions, where she's very quiet, she's very tense. But the one at the very end, like, she's actually directing her own play. And it's like, you gotta be proud about yourself. Like, most parents would look at that and be like, well, they didn't learn anything. Do you know geography or history or anything? No, but they learn life skills, and it's actually going to really help them when they have job interviews and stuff, and really feel like they're a part of a team or whatever, instead of, because if she would have just been through a public school throughout the rest of her life, she probably would have been a very quiet bookworm, and it would have been really hard for her to, like, get out there and try to find a job and stuff. Because, guys, this is like 100% truth coming down. I am not the best at what I do. I'm really not. I consider myself an average filmmaker because that's what I majored in. I majored in film. I consider myself an average filmmaker, and I'm learning and growing every day. The reason why I've gotten the jobs that I've gotten is because I have good work ethic. I work well with people. I can communicate, and I can, like I said, I can gel with most people. And that's important. That's actually more important than skills, is that you have to learn how to be interactive with people. Like that's the most important trait. And I think her growing into this very, talkative person towards the end of the movie, it's like this school's doing something right. And you have to kind of just sit back and, kind of think about that. And just like, this school is not as bad as you think, So, but then the other guy, because this school has like an exhibition night where like they create something that's their test or whatever, and they display it to their parents and people in the town. And so this kid makes like a bunch of gears and stuff that kind of like rotate and like kind of all form and like all move in a uniform motion. So towards the end of the movie, he doesn't get his project done in time. And you know what he does? He perseveres himself, and he actually goes back to the school like 4 weeks into summer break, and he still continues to work on it and fix his problems and try to figure out what gear is going to work with this, what gear is going to work with that, and he finishes it. And you can't sit there and tell me that was not important. This kid, because that's what the school teaches. People make mistakes in life. It's a matter of getting up and trying to do it better. Like you make a mistake, you realize what you did wrong. You have to go at it 10 times harder than the second time and try to improve yourself. And that's what this kid did. Like he failed. He failed at the very end of the movie. And he explained to the teachers why he failed, and he wanted to continue to work on it. And what does he do? He continues to work on it, and he succeeds. This school taught him that. This school taught him that you're going to make mistakes in life, but it's all about how you get up and how you fight back and try harder and figure out your problem. That's fantastic. And so that's what this whole documentary is about. And so with the director, he does present both sides. Not so much on the public side, but more on this alternative teaching side. Like he has clips and stuff of old school teaching and professors and graphs and stuff, but for the most part, it focuses on this new school. And I think what he was trying to get at us was just kind of show us this new innovative way of teaching and kind of make us question our current education system right now. So good job on the director on that. And I know I rambled on, but I just want to tell you more about the story and like what was going on in this movie. So that's what I think about the directing and picking sides and whatnot, and really showing this new alternative way so it can make us question on what we actually want in the future. So acting, you can't judge acting in a documentary. It's impossible because they're real life people being filmed. Like they're not professional actors. So you can't do acting. Cinematography, I mean, all the interview shots were nicely lit, nicely shot, had nice depth of field. Some of the shots in the when they're at the new school were like on a glide cam or whatever. So like it'd be on like on the ground or whatever, and it kind of like move slowly this way, probably on a slider or something. So those shots look really cool. They look really gorgeous. And that school looked really awesome, by the way. It was really cool design. So, like I said, cinematography is clean for a documentary. There's nothing wrong with it. Editing, this movie was like an hour and a half. I was engaged throughout the entire thing, man. As soon as the movie started, because it started on Ken Jennings, the guy that won like 100 days of Jeopardy in a row, and they brought him back, and he got beat by a robot in Jeopardy. They brought on a robot to see if he could beat an actual robot with intelligence, and he couldn't. So it was a great opener. I would say it. Yeah, I would say it hooked me. So the opener was great. As far as like the pace of it goes, I didn't find it boring because like I was just intrigued at like how this school functioned, and I really wanted to see their end game and see how these kids grew and stuff. And I was really satisfied with the conclusion and stuff, and it was very kind of inspiring. So it'll definitely make you question the educational system for damn sure. So that's my thoughts on this documentary. I think it's one of the better ones at this festival. So if it comes to your area, most likely to succeed, about the school education system, I implore you to check it out. It's very well done. So I think out of 10 overall, I'll give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. And that's just my thoughts on it. I don't think it's like one of the best documentaries ever made. I'm not going to give it like a 9 or 10, but I think a 7.5 is pretty damn good. So have you seen Most Likely to Succeed? If you haven't, comment, place available in my face and let me know. As always, thanks for watching Real Reviews. I'm Chase Lee, and this was another review live from the Dallas International Film Festival, and I'll have plenty more coming your way. So let me go and play the outro music. All right. Goodbye, everyone.